My last video was about a number of strange laws in Iran. This is the second part of that video, so if you haven't watched the previous one, go and do that right now and come back. This is Iran Explained, where I take a look at Iran's economy, history, politics, and more. This video is about another 5 strange laws enforced in Iran today. Let's continue the countdown starting from number 5. Women banned from stadiums. Women are not allowed to watch men's sport, especially football, in any stadium. Iranian women used to be able to watch all the sports next to men before the revolution of 1979. But after the revolution, they were banned for so-called religious reasons. Some women have tried to look like men using makeup to be able to buy tickets and get to the stadium for years. There is a movie released in 2006 called Offside, which tells the story of such girls. Criticism against this discriminatory law increased even more after a fan of Istiqlal Football Club burned herself alive when she was denied entry to the stadium to watch her favorite team's match. Recently, there has been some flexibility in terms of implementing this law due to mounted criticism from FIFA and the threat of total suspension of Iran's Football Federation. So a selected number of women were able to enter the stadium and watch Iran and Cambodia match on June 11, 2021. But again, in March 29, 2022, they were greeted with pepper spray when they were trying to enter the stadium to watch Iran and Lebanon's match. So the issue is still there and doesn't seem to be solved in the near future. Number 4. Having a dog as a pet. In the past, dog ownership was limited to villagers or wealthy individuals that mostly used dogs for protecting themselves against wild animals or thieves. In recent decades, this has changed and more ordinary people own dogs just as a friendly companion. Dogs are considered unclean animals in Islam and people should avoid bringing them into their living space. Consequently, the government has tried to ban dog ownership in cities in public areas as well as apartment buildings. Due to the fact that all religion-related reasons has not been enough to limit the dog ownership and dog walking activities, the police relies on occasional reported incidents involving dogs attacking others or even some people being intimidated or threatened by them. Today, if you are caught walking a dog, you will get a fine and your dog might also be confiscated. If you try driving around with your dog in the car, your car might also get confiscated for a short period of time as well. This total ban has prevented implementing actual useful laws regarding pet ownership. This has caused widespread ignorance about the pet ownership responsibilities. Number 3. Wearing ties. It seems to be a very simple matter. If you wear a suit, for example, you should be able to wear a tie too. In pre-revolutionary Iran, it was totally acceptable, like most other parts of the world, to wear ties. Even a few years after the revolution, it was still considered normal. But sometime after that, this piece of clothing became associated with the West and capitalism and being anti-revolutionary. This sentiment was very strong that people who used to wear ties before stopped wearing them, and people who kept wearing them used to be accused of being anti-revolutionary or monarchist. In a couple of years, most shops stopped selling ties or sold them in secret. This harsh stance has softened over the recent decades, and no one would be persecuted due to wearing ties, and it is being sold almost everywhere. And there is no specific law banning tie production or sale, so a lot of ties are being produced in Iran as well. Having said all of that, most Grand Ayatollahs still believe that ties should not be worn because they are a symbol of Western culture and Christianity. So, if someone has a government-related job or wants to get one, should stop wearing ties altogether. Number 2. Not being able to change your name. Well, you can change your name, and there is a list of acceptable reasons for someone to do that. For example, if you have a name that is too long or a name that does not have a good meaning, you can simply fill out a form and change that. But if you have a religious name and want to change it to a non-religious name, your request will get denied. Of course, there are ways to get around this issue. For instance, you can go to the court and convince the judge that you have been called the alternative name, the one that you are trying to change your name to, since you were a child, which can be challenging. If you cannot do that, your only option for a name change would be another religious name. Number 1. No musical instruments on state TV. This is one of the most bizarre issues. I have to mention that this is not a law, but it is sort of a policy first introduced and implemented after the Islamic Revolution that is still in place to this date. What is quite interesting is that right now you can import, produce, sell, buy, or use any kind of musical instrument and use it in musical production and concerts, or even show them on countries' online content providers Basically, Iranian versions of Netflix, but not on the state TV. If you absolutely have to bring one with you for a live performance, they will try to conceal it with something like a vase of flowers. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button for more videos. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.